Hello and welcome to part 19 of the Johnny Blender 2.0 series. In this section we're going to go ahead and continue on, and maybe we'll tweak the eyebrows just a little bit more, and then we'll get into and do the eyelashes, and probably we'll have time to go ahead and start doing the hair, the head hair, the scalp. So let's go ahead and jump into particle mode here. Actually, the first thing I want to do is save this, and like I was doing before, I was separating each one of these out into folders. I think I'll just save that until I'm completely done, and then separate everything out for the DVD there. So I'll go ahead and rename that to 19 and go ahead and save. And now let's jump in here and start. I don't think my eyebrows are quite that long, so let's go in here and we can get rid of some of the edge here just by going to cut right there and just running it over the edge there, and it'll kind of just trim those up about like that. Maybe come up here a little bit. Now it's not going to look very natural now because it's a very clean cut right there. So one thing we can do to kind of randomize that a little bit is if you can grab your length right there and grow, it's set to grow, you can just kind of gently brush your tool brush over your comb or whatever, your brush over the edge of the eyebrow there, and it'll make it a little bit more natural. And go ahead and comb that back down. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Go ahead and save that. Now let's go ahead and do a test render. Let's see what it's going to look like. And it does look a little bit better, but they're really thin now, so we need to kind of go in there and adjust that, because oops, undo that. Go back to object mode so I don't do it again on accident. Let's go to our particle settings here and go down to our children, and let's bump it up 1 so it has, actually let's try 2, and let's zoom in here and maybe see if we can get these arranged here a little bit. Increase the roundness and maybe the radius there, and that's too far. 0.05 was not quite far enough. 0.15 is too far, so let's try 0.075. Maybe that'll help. I'm not going to do a test render now because we need to move onwards and upwards. So let's go ahead and start working on our eyelashes now. And a quick easy way to do that is we could just go ahead and add them the same way we did with the eyebrows here in the eyebrow settings, but I like to keep things separated. So let's just go ahead and click the little plus sign there, and it's going to create another one, another particle hair. So we can go ahead and call this one eyelashes. Okay, and it's going to be the same thing. Change it to hair, and then come down here to the velocity, set the normal way down. About like that, and then we'll go ahead and set the amount to 0. Okay, and the more particles you get on there, the slower your 3D viewport's going to get, because that has to kind of basically calculate those on the fly. So right now it's not a huge deal because it's just the eyebrows, but if we had the whole head of hair in here, it might be slowing us down a little bit. So you can turn these off. Leave them on there, but turn them off by just going to our modifiers tab. And when you add a particle system to a model, it automatically creates a modifier for it. And so we can go ahead and name these in here as well. So you can hit the little eyeball there, and that turns it off for the preview. It's still going to render it there because it's got the camera icon still turned on. But let's go ahead and name that eyebrows. And then this one we'll name eyelashes. Okay. So we'll keep the eyebrows turned off for now, just so we don't get them confused. And let's pop back to our particles tab. Okay, and let's go ahead and get this set up similar to the eyebrows. We'll go down to Go ahead and collapse that one and go to render. And we want this one to go ahead and take the material number 2 also. And now we're ready to go ahead and pop in here into particle mode. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you start having multiple particles here, it's a good idea to make sure you're on the proper one that you're wanting to work on. Like it's real easy to accidentally have the one selected, and then you might, it's not working the way I want. Well, that's because you got the wrong one selected. So, okay, so we have our eyelashes selected. Let's make sure that our X mirror is turned on. It is. Okay, and now we'll just go up to Add, and let's zoom in here on one of the eyes. Gonna get this situated here, and let's turn the countdown back to 1, so we can put 1 at a time on here, and then just gently along the edge of our eye lids there, just start painting in our eyelashes. Real careful. It's really easy to kind of go off at an angle that you don't want. But if you do, and it's not just too horribly bad, kind of like I've got here, kind of circled around there, you can always fix that with the comb. As you never thought you'd be combing eyelashes, did you? I'm going to go ahead and turn off the properties. Just hit N on my keyboard. I'll go ahead and turn that off. Let's go ahead and draw the bottom ones as well. Okay, and as you notice, it went ahead and drew it on both sides there too. So get the old comb, and let's go to our front view, 1 on your numpad, remember, and we'll just click and drag and comb those out to the side. And now we'll go to the side view and kind of just start combing them upwards like this. Maybe try to put a little bit of a curve to them. Okay. Might be a little difficult to get these to be the right exact shape you want them to be. One thing you can do is it's called puff. Now, I don't use it very often, but it kind of puffs the hair up from the roots. So if we flatten these against the head, like so, we can grab the puff right there, kind of run that along there. You can see it kind of raises them up. But it doesn't really put curves to it like we were hoping. So I guess maybe just the actual comb itself might be the best trick of the trade for this particular instance. Don't see a lot of wavy eyelashes. They're pretty much just curved in the one direction. Now, something you can, okay, here's another thing you can try. Right down here, you've got your settings for what type of, or how your controls of your particle hairs are. Right now, you're pretty much doing the whole strand. If you turn on this one right here, the point select mode, you can kind of just grab, you can zoom in and just kind of grab individual vertices from it. But the one that might be best for this instance is right here. It's the tip select, and you get that, and when you comb, it's only going to do the tips. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's grab the original one, the path select, and let's go to our front view, and let's comb all these straight forward, straight out from the face, like so. And now we'll get the tip select mode, and let's come back in, zoom in here, and now we can just grab the tips and just paint them up like so. Not paint, but comb. And like this. You can see it kind of behaves a little bit more like eyelashes. And we can do the same thing in the front. Kind of get them coming out to the side. And then you have some pretty decent looking eyelashes. So another thing we need to do here is they're all the same length, and eyelashes are usually kind of taper off from their longest towards the outside of the eye and a little bit shorter on the inside. So let's get the length again, except this time we'll go to shrink and just kind of shrink those up there in the inside area. And if you're creating a female model, you might even lengthen some of these to give that, you know, that long eyelash mascara look or something or other. So, okay, so that looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and pop back into object mode here. And you know, one thing that's still kind of bugging me, the eyeballs is still kind of bugging me. So let's zoom in here, actually go into edit mode on our eyeball. And let's go ahead and hide that outer layer again. And I want to make the iris a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to grab these guys. Go ahead and scale those down. Maybe turn on my proportional editing. Make the influence way down. And let's put it about, maybe about like that. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And we can bring the whole model up to about right there. Might need to edit our face model as well. So let's go ahead and do that. After this, I promise we'll be done with the modeling, at least of the head. Go ahead and bring this up and out. Now sometimes when you edit the base mesh, is it editing both sides? Yes, okay. It might make your particle hair that you've painted on there, it might kind of make it look all screwed up. It's pretty well behaved, pretty much the same. I mean, it stayed pretty good place here. Let's go ahead and turn the eyebrows on, make sure those are going to look good still yet. Yeah. Okay. And our eyeball looks a little bit better over here. Let's go ahead and copy the same eyeball over, because this is still the old one on this side. Go ahead and delete that one. Shift D, drag it over. And there we go. So maybe that'll look a little bit better. Just maybe too far. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and save. And let's go ahead and do a test render. Let's see what this looks like. Well, you know what? Before we do that, let's go to our particle settings for our eyelashes, and let's go ahead and set them up, strand render, and come down to children. Let's go ahead and do the same thing there, except we don't need that many. We don't need the same amount of eyelashes as we have eyebrows. So let's just set that down to 2, and then also render down to 2. And I need to change our radius way down. Let's try 0.025. And that'll probably be, that might even still be too much. Let's try 0.01. That'll probably be fine. And let's set our random size up. That's another thing we need to do with the eyebrows. Zoom into there. Let's go up to our eyebrow particle system there, and go ahead and come down here to the random right there. Go ahead and set that all the way up to 1, and this one as well. I think this is actually the one that we should worry about. Set that random way up, and the eyelashes too, right there into the render settings. Yeah, that randomness gives it a more natural look to it. Okay, for some reason the right eye looks a little bit strange to me compared to the left eye. That's better. Go ahead and save. Pop into camera view. Save one more time. Go ahead and hit render. Let's see what this looks like with our eyelashes and eyebrows now. Give me a sip of water. Okay, now our eyebrows are still way too thin, but the eyelashes are on there. It's kind of hard to see. Why don't we go ahead and darken up our material there that we've created for our brows and lashes. Go into our pardon me, our texture settings here. Go ahead and bump the opacity of these guys up. Maybe even a little bit more. And this probably doesn't need to be that far down. Okay, you can play with these and try to get the best look that you can there. Pop back to edit mode, or excuse me, the materials settings there. And let's give it one more render here. Okay, that's a little bit better. Could probably be a little shinier because it seems kind of dull right there. So, I hate to spend so much time trying to tweak this, but if you want it to look good, you got to spend time on it, I guess. So let's go here and set our hardness up to, if it'll let me in there, I guess. Uh-oh, looks like Blender's kind of going buggy on me. Let me pause the recorder until it clears up. Okay, here's a problem. Now, I do not know what causes this, but it happens a lot more often than it should. But sometimes I'll get this error right here in my Blender command prompt here that comes up when you start Blender. And it says, error, image too small. And it just keeps repeating it, and it locks up Blender. And like I said, I don't know what causes it, but basically the only thing you can do to solve it is just to close Blender and reopen it. So we'll go ahead and open that where we were, and go ahead and collapse or make my window small enough to fit back in there. Okay, so we were going to play with the settings of our eyebrows. So let's fling the hardness back a little further up, maybe the intensity down a little bit. Okay, and I guess what we can do is go in there to particle mode, make sure we have the eyebrows selected. See there? Gotta make sure you got the right one. Particle mode. And let's go in here and let's just paint in a few more eyebrows. A few more eyebrow hairs there. So we'll just go to add, and let's bump the count up to 3, and we'll just kind of brush. Oops, let me undo that. Show you one thing that's important when you're adding to something you've already combed and got the position you like, the shape and everything you like. This little guy right here called interpolate, go ahead and check that, and all the new hairs you make, it's going to kind of take into account all the hairs that are nearby it and shape these new hairs to kind of match the direction that the ones surrounding it are going. So, pretty neat little feature there. Let me get some thickness right in here. Oops, too far. Okay, that's probably good. Go ahead and save, and let's go ahead and give her one more test render. Now, that error I mentioned earlier, I usually only see it when I start doing a lot of rendering. I don't know if it has something to do with the render window or what, but that's, like I said, it's about the only time I see it occur is when it's with the render window. So, okay, those brows look decent, I guess. It'll probably look a lot better once we get some more hair on the head there. But pardon me. I guess on my 20-minute limit, that's about it for this part. And on the next part, we'll go ahead and start working on the hair for the head. So, thanks for watching. This has been part 19, and I will see you in part 20.